Okay, good afternoon all. Hope everyone is well. My apologies about yesterday. I had a hospital appointment and got stuck there for about 4 hours, so I didn't get back till late. So, Karina, good morning to you. So, let's see how we get on today. So, you will notice I've got a few less accounts. Daryl, how you doing? I'm down to 17 accounts now. I did take some trades yesterday, so I did recover from Friday, but I still have this tendency, some of my newer accounts which were below 50,000, to take a risk, and I ended up losing a few of them, but I'm okay with it. I'm not too bad. They were minus about 500 in the accounts anyway, so when they are that low, I still have that tendency to take a bit of a risk on them. So I'm down to 17. I'm not bothering topping them up anymore. I'm just going to stick with the 17, to be honest with you. It doesn't really make a massive difference, 17 or 20. But yeah, when they get below 50,000, I have that tendency to take a risk. So I'm going to add a few extra settings to Guardian Angel Trader, I think. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about this morning. So I'm going to add a few different settings. The trouble is, if I have a bad day on my lower accounts, I've got a tendency to get a little bit risky. So I normally have mine set to 2 losses a day, 1 contract. But I can get into my Guardian Angel Trader between 1 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. to make any changes, and that's when I've been making changes. So what I'm going to do is between those hours tomorrow, I'm going to set it so that I can't get in and make any changes until the weekend. So it should stop me doing that. I still have that little bit of weakness, which comes in from time to time. Okay, market has just opened. Lags dropped up a bit, so we got 1, 2, 3. Looks like a triple test that, so I think we're likely to push for these lows. So, Exponential, how you doing? Hey, Tony, how you doing, buddy? Daryl, I think I said hello to you, and Karina. So, I've got it like this. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but it kind of fits the midline here and here, so I don't mind it. And we've got a break, as in 2 legs. We've had another attempt to push higher and then down to the lows. I think we should break these lows. Paul, how you doing, buddy? Oh, sorry, Paolo, my mistake. So yeah, I had a hospital appointment yesterday. I used to do karate years ago, and I dislocated and fractured a toe, and it's never quite healed right. So I may have to have a small bit of surgery later this year. So I had to drive 20 miles to the local hospital at Telford. That is interesting. 2 legs up, bearish bar. I don't think that's a bad short. 2 legs up to the lows. I can't take a trade for the first 2 minutes anyway, but we got 2 legs down, 2 legs up. So I think that's probably going to push down and stop out any bulls there and then break the lows. But as I say, I can't trade it. Let's see. It is kind of leg and a leg up, so I think it's probably going to work. Now that changes things. See, I do expect a new low there, but I can't trade for the first 2 minutes. Okay, so it did work. So I don't think that was a bad trade there. 2 legs down, clearly 2 legs up, and it worked beautifully, I think. So if I could have taken that one, I 100% would, and it's just a shame, isn't it? So I'm going to mark that as just a trade because I liked it. Clearly worked. You got plenty of points out there, but there's bound to be buyers there. So if you got a tick below there, yeah, it went down for 6 points thereabouts, 5.5, 6 points. So plenty available there. Did anybody take that incidentally? Did they? First time here, are we scalping? Yes, we are. Now, I generally scalp for 3 points, but it does depend. If there's enough space, I usually go for 3 points, but I am not averse to adapting that little bit. So I've got that channel, and I like it. We've got a touch, and one there. It's fitting nicely along the midline. We've had 2 legs up in the way of a break. So that's the type of break I like, textbook type break. 2 perfect measured legs, a push down, a little retest, and then 2 legs down to a new low. So I like that. It's just a shame, really, because I think that was a nice setup. Clearly too. I mean, it wasn't a well, actually, technically, you could have said it was a second entry, but we had 2 clear attempts to push higher, and I like the fact that you're bound to have buyers there, and it triggered above, came down right tight under that EMA, so for me, that was going to work. Certainly break those lows, but once it got below some of them stops there, you can see then it had that little push. You did put on an eval. Yeah. I see. I lock mine out so I can't trade the first 2 minutes because sometimes it can be a little volatile. And I was about, I don't know, 15 or 20 seconds off missing that one, but that was a shame. So Dan took that. I actually don't think that was a bad setup. I'd have preferred it a bit higher. We clearly got a triple test, but I'd have probably left that one just in case it does go a bit higher. But that one I liked. So let me just check. We did have news, but it's done and dusted. Let me just check all these are opening.
Order submitted.
4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Excellent.
Order cancelled.
Okay, yeah, sorted. So, it's a little double bottom there, so this thing may... Let's have a look. This thing may be reversing a little bit now. It's kind of a double bottom there. We'll see. Leg and a leg. Or is it reversing? Yeah, I don't think it's safe to take a short here. It is 2 legs up. Let me just see if... Let me just check there isn't something larger there. No, it's a bit early, I think. It's a little bit choppy here, but there is a double bottom there. We've had that break and we've had 1, 2 clear pushes down. Nice measured leg down. Well, I put it from there, but somewhere around about there, but 2 clear pushes down. Leg and a leg. I think it's the last... Is it the last day of the 80% today? Let me just check. Or was it yesterday? No, 14 hours. Last day 80% today, just in case anyone is fancy picking any up. I'm not going to bother getting any more. I'm down to 17 now. I seem to take a risk when mine drop below that 50,000 just on those newer accounts. But once I get some money in there, that's when I kind of go into protection mode. And I've got to stop doing it, really. It's a habit of mine. So I'm going to change my settings and lock myself off again. So I can't make any changes until the weekend. Well, politics is interesting at the moment, isn't it? It's just got very strange, isn't it? I know US now have cut off all assistance, well, all aid, military aid to Ukraine. It's a bit odd, isn't it? I got to say, I'm not a Vance fan. I think he berated him a little bit, didn't he, Vance? There's obviously, I think he campaigned for Biden, didn't he, Zelensky? And that's okay, you know, the people are entitled to. But I think Vance held a grudge. But it's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Is it a mess that Europe are going to have to just deal with themselves, or will Trump change his mind? Yeah, they were a bit, weren't they? I mean, really, you shouldn't speak to a president of a country not like that. Any talk like that really should have held behind closed doors, not ready for the media, because they'll just rip you apart. The trouble is, I think, you know, we forget really that Trump really is a businessman, isn't he? He's not so much of a politician. He doesn't kind of do tactful. He's a businessman, and, you know, successful businessmen get their own way, don't they? And it's all about the deal, isn't it? And that's sort of how it's... But it wasn't pleasant to watch, was it? So I didn't think they'd go as far as to stop all aid. It was internationally, so they could use as an excuse to withdraw support. Yeah, I wouldn't. That wouldn't surprise me. Put it that way. I wouldn't surprise me. The trouble is, the US is a big country. It's a big military power as well, and it's certainly going to help. You know, I think Putin's lapping this up, isn't he? It's certainly going to help having the US being US backed, really, isn't it? You know, when you've got someone like Putin, you can never have enough friends, really. Hey, Jan, how you doing? Huge amounts. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Well, yeah. When I say successful, I mean marginally. Yeah. But he's a businessman, isn't he? And it's all about the deals, isn't it? It's deals. So this is interesting. What's going on here? So we've got a channel up here with a drop. Is there a high or low there? I'm avoiding this one, I think. But yeah, I mean, words like that, really, you wouldn't expect it from grown men, really, would you? It was very much sort of classroom stuff. And you know, no one should be spoken to like that, really. Not, especially not in front. I mean, you know, I know there's stern talks and that go on behind closed doors. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? But it was very petty and immature in front of the media. And obviously, it was bullying, yeah, absolutely. But I think Zelensky held himself well. He didn't lose his temper. He just, you know, he tried to say his bit, didn't he? But I thought he dealt with it pretty well. But Trump is he's forever the surprise, isn't he? So 2 attempts to push lower. Let's see if this goes up. 1, 2, 3. I'm not sort of 2 attempts to push higher. I'd say this is probably going to break these highs, but there may be something larger coming down there, so I think going long here probably isn't the most advisable. And if there's something like that, maybe. I'm not trading today, not home, but had to tune into your stream. Yeah, sorry about yesterday. I had an injury. I did karate years ago and I had an injury on a toe. I dislocated it and broke it. It's never quite healed right, and it just sometimes... I've got a really nice pair of beautiful brown leather brogue shoes that I struggle to wear because they're just uncomfortable. So I had to drive to Telford, which was about 15 miles from where I lived, to the hospital there, and one of the registrars didn't turn up, so all the clinics were put into one, so I was there the best part of 4 hours, which was a pain. So I'm not sure whether I like that or not. I don't think it's terrible. I don't like the fact that we've missed the middle. I mean, you could bring that down to there, really. Maybe that looks a little better. But this has got a bearish feel to it. I was looking at that channel up with two legs down, but I think what it probably is more of an overshoot, I think, up to the top. And then obviously it's rejecting here, isn't it? So this, for me, is a spiking channel. Let's have a look. So, yeah, we're definitely bearish at the moment, aren't we? So, let's just zoom in here. So, we didn't quite get down the bottom there. That makes me nervous going short. That's triggered. That may come back up. See if it can get a lower high. That might not be terrible.
Order submitted.
Second entry long, failure possibly. Oh, I don't like the way that's flicking around. I'm just going to shut my order down.
Order cancelled.
It's triggered that second entry long, so I'd say that's going to get stopped out. But it didn't get down the bottom there, so it's getting a little bit congested here. So I don't like the way it's flickering around. The news we had is... tell a lie. There is some medium impact news. Oh, it's now. That didn't show it. I wonder why. Or has it just come up? Final services PMI. I've not heard of that news. It's not showing it on there. Yeah, that's unusual. I have got another chart anyway. High all, bin down, channel from the very top. Big down. Yeah, I've kind of, well, yeah, Dan's got it from something like that. I had a look at it early, but I wasn't a fan. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant in the way we're coming down. I mean, it only really plays a part if we get up to the top here. So what I might do, leg and a leg. What I might do, 2 attempts to push up. Excuse me, let's just see how it reacts here. No news today. No, it's showing on here or something. I've got it on one of my other charts as medium impact news. We did have some earlier. I'm assuming that's yesterday. Screen of panic. People panic issue everywhere. So, leg and a leg up. Fetching news from Forex Factory. There is no... Unless it's just come out. It's just come out. I don't think it did anything. It was flickering around. That's what made me look. So, 2 attempts to push up. Possible lower high here. I don't like the way it's flickering around. So, I'm going to sit tight here. Let's just have a little look. Okay, so Dan has just changed his chart from that to this. So he's got the same thing as me, I think. So too fast, can't even put an order in. Yeah, it's... Well, yeah, he's done it from here. Let's have a look. I don't think it matters where you do it from there or there. It kind of fits, done it anyway, so... So I like that. He's changed it to that now. So you may call it a spike and channel. It doesn't really matter. That's what you've got, is it? Yeah. It's fast since London. I trade NQ and it's jumper this month. Was it really? I don't like the way this is holding above the EMA at the moment. Now, we're at the bottom here. We're at the bottom here. We couldn't get down here, and sometimes that leads to a break. Sometimes that... Oh, there we go. Sometimes that leads to a break. So, one leg up, second leg up. Now, it's interesting on the 10,000 tick chart. There's kind of a second entry short there. Currently, it's showing. Whether that'll materialise or not, I don't know. But the 10,000's looking bearish. Now, we had a small break out of that, but I don't like the way this is flicking around. I mean, we could probably adjust that a little bit. Actually, yeah, that looks okay, doesn't it? I think that looks okay. So we've got a touch with a stem. So he's say from there, touch, touch, touch. It is flickering a bit, isn't it? I'm going to put that there. So we've got a channel with a break and a new low. Sorry about that. I actually like that. Down, I tried taking the 848, but it blew past my stop limit order. 48, so around about here. Did he take that one, I'm guessing, probably. Yeah, it did move quick, didn't it? I know crypto's taken a bit of a drop, hasn't it? I did put some money in the other day into some H-bar, and that's took a bit of a hammer. Let's have a look. Everything's down. I mean, we had that pump, didn't we? Bitcoin went up to about 98,000. It's down to 84 now. So that's dropped. So I bought some H-bar. It's down a bit, but not terrible. I bought H-bar, I think, at 25 cents. It's down to 23.5 at the moment. I just stuck another £1,000 of it into it, but I don't mind keeping it. So channel break, new low, more or less a measured leg there, I'd say. Yeah, more or less to the nearest tick. So definitely a bearish field today. Whether it's something to do with this aid withdrawn, the military support withdrawn, that's probably got something to do with the way its markets are acting generally negative, I think. So, I mean, since Trump's got in, really, things have, I don't know, the markets feel really unstable. Crypto's not doing so good. The general overall markets aren't doing so good. I think Trump needs to give some good news here, really, doesn't he? It's affecting people. What hard wallet are you using? I have some in what's it called? What's the thing with a fox? I can't think now. I know how to get into it. But I actually bought some through Revolut. I bought £1,000 through Revolut a couple of days ago, and I have probably 1,500 in Kraken, which I tend to leave there. If I had a huge amount, I may take it out. And I know there's extra risk like that, but if I had large amounts, I would, because when you transfer it back and forwards, it costs, doesn't it? But I have got them in a few different things. Yeah, I know. Yeah. If I had a large amount, I would. Pretty similar during the first sim as well. Yeah. Not this until there's a cease. Yeah. Let's hope we get something, Paolo. We need something, don't we? The trouble is, Trump's a businessman and he's an investor. It's not doing him any favours, surely. Cost if you choose the wrong blockchain. It's something I've never done. I did put some about 12 months ago into what's the thing with a fox? I can't think what it's called, which is a sort of an online wallet. But what I kind of like is, because I don't tend to keep it for long. What I do, if I buy crypto and it tends to go up 20%, what I'll tend to do is sell it, and then when we get a bit of a dump, I tend to buy a bit more, and that way, without spending any more money, I've kind of slowly increased. I haven't got much. I've probably got a total of about £3.5 worth, which in the grand scheme of things is not huge, is it? But I've got some on Kraken, I've got some on Crypto.com, and I've got some through Revolut, my online bank, and they're kind of spread over, so hopefully minimal. But yeah, I probably need to. I could probably do with having a chat to you about that, because I don't know much about wallets. Well, I know what they are. I know what they do. I know there's a few different types. I kind of looked at them in the past. But so you're saying with certain wallets, if you send them via a certain way, you can kind of do it for a lot cheaper, can you? I know I've paid gas fees in the past to buy crypto, and I've paid something like $75 in gas fees, which is horrendous. Ethereum, yeah, because I know you can send it via Ethereum. You can send it via Solana, can't you? And a couple of others, I think. The trouble is, there's so much information out there, but some crypto kind of gurus, they don't make it easy. They don't explain it easy. So for newbies, I wouldn't class myself as a beginner. I've had crypto on and off for a couple of years, but it's not straightforward, is it? Isn't stored in a wallet, it's the keys. Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah. We're lucky with crypto. One that lives invested 20k, made 90. I know you can make huge amounts, can't you? Sits on the blockchain. Yeah, it's still quite technical, isn't it, for a lot of people? I kind of understand it a little bit, but I actually bought Solana at, I think, about $12 or $14. I bought 60 of them, maybe a year and a bit ago, and I sold them at $18, and they went up to about, $260. They topped off highs at the top of the last bull run. I think they're around about $140, $150 at the moment, but I so wish that I had some XRP as well. And I just heard a few negative things about XRP, so I got rid of it, and that pumped a while ago. That's gone up about 400, 500% in the last, 4 to 6 months. So I just need to learn to be a bit patient. So I've been looking at H-bar for a while. I have a little bit, but I just decided to buy another 1,000. ETH blockchain is very expensive. Normally pay gas fee. It's very expensive. You normally pay gas fees of less than $1. Now that is cheap. I would probably use a cold wallet in that case. What I might do, bud, is ask you. I'll message you later and ask you what wallet to buy and how to send it, or what way of sending it. I know I can send it from any one of my exchanges, can't I? As I say, I got some in. I can send it from Crypto.com. I can send it from Kraken. See, I love Kraken, but they don't do. I love the fees. It's so cheap to buy and sell them on Kraken. Crypto.com fees are just too much. But I couldn't. They don't do H-bar. They don't host H-bar for some reason on Kraken. Otherwise, I'd use it. I have a couple of Solana on Kraken. I've got some Chainlink, a bit of Ethereum. I've got about six or seven of them. Just bits. I'm trying to just keep them long term, really. But when they get close to the top, I'll generally sell them. But I got hammered last time. Trouble is, unless you've got a fair idea of how bull runs work, it's very easy when you come into crypto for the first time. That you end up buying right at the top or close to the top. The profit trade is 30% off and no activation fee. Yeah, I think it's 185, wasn't it, the full price, and 30% off, which take it down to, I don't know, maybe 120, 130. So yeah, it's what's it I like? My funded futures I like. It's about $97. If you're from the US, flipping hell, what's going on here? We could get a right old drop here. Yeah. What was I saying? My funded futures I like. It's about $97. I think you save 5% or $5, whatever it is. Yes, 5%. If you pay by ACH, I don't think we can do that here. I think that's for US guys. So yeah, then it's not a bad deal at the moment. It's one I don't think I've tried to take profit trade. Tell a lie, I had one. So leg and a leg. People good in trading that do. Yeah. This thing is looking super bearish, isn't it, at the moment? Yeah, so basically we had two legs down. Bounce. It's not a company. Not blown evals. Yeah, absolutely. I trade mine too aggressively. I'd go broke. I would if I did that. Okay, so we've got a nice channel working down there. I like that. It's bouncing in all the right places. And then we had a leg down, a couple of attempts to go up. It went a bit sideways and then the arse fell out of it straight down. So trouble is it can be hard to trade like this, can't it, when it's moving so quick? I mean, we've had a lot of volume already. Market's only really been open 30 minutes and we've had a lot of volume. So there's clearly some negative thoughts. People are very cautious, aren't they? So Dan has just posted that now. To there. I don't think it's terrible. The trouble is you've got this big open area here and here. So what I might do is just kill the colour there. I'd say that's probably two legs played out, isn't it? Not quite. So we've got the leg down, a correction, and another leg down. So I think... trouble is, it's okay thinking it could get down to here, but is it going to drop here, or is it going to come closer to this? It's hard to trade when it's doing this. It's moving so quick you can get chopped up in a second, can't you? I'm going to kill the colour there as well. It's just confusing me a little bit. The trouble is, because we've had such a lot of volume and it's coming down at an angle, when you extend it open to getting closer, you're kind of missing the bigger picture. So channel with a break. Are we going to push down to these lows? Channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Second entry short maybe here. Yeah, it's kind of a double bottom. With this channel down, 2 attempts to push up. I'd still say there's a fair chance it could come down. It depends what it looks, how it looks. So channel down, 1 attempt to push higher, second attempt to push higher. Is it going to fail here? A lower high from here I'd have a go at, but I wouldn't take that just in case. But it is 2 attempts to push up. So there is a failure there which is triggered. Let's see where this goes. If it doesn't take that out, I'd say it's probably going to go higher above here. So that would be a better 2 legs up for me. So lower high from here, I wouldn't mind. Heavy stops there, and some down here. Okay, that stop's gone. Still could push up yet. So that would have worked, clearly. So stops there, stops for the failure. They're both gone now. Let's see what happens if it comes down. Excuse me a second, I've just got someone at my front door. 1 second. Okay, my apologies. Okay, so channel down, 2 attempts to push higher, clearly failed, down to the new lows. So unfortunately, there wasn't a lower high there. Otherwise, I'd have had a go at that. Channel down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher, and failed. So let's just, I'm just going to have to delete that a second. It's just confusing the hell out of me. So measured leg would take us down here. Let's see if this comes down any further. Yeah, so that's, I brought that in a little while ago, 2nd entry. I kind of like that. That's how I thought it may continue down, and that's just worked beautifully. 10, 20, 30, 40, it's down another 40 points from there. So this thing is bearish at the moment. So there's definitely blood in the streets. It's getting a bit scary, isn't it? Let me have a look. How's crypto doing? Down a bit, but it's holding. Okay, so so see if we get that measured leg. I think we will. Boom. There we go. Right to it. So how far have we dropped so far just today? So from the highs, we're down 123 points. That's a significant drop, really. You know, I mean, let's have a look. Where did the market officially open? It was around about here, wasn't it? And we're still down sort of 46 points. I mean, this thing could continue down, couldn't it? There's definitely a lot of panic around, isn't there? So Thomas Wade took a short there. My only concern about there is, actually, I don't think it's a terrible trade, to be fair. It is a 2nd entry short, but the bars, that bar is relatively large, I think, isn't it? So tick above, tick below. It's $450 risk. No, tell a lie, I'm only trading the contract, so it's still $225 risk. And not only that, we're finding some support here, so you don't know whether it's going to fail. You took the 2nd entry short price movement. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is sometimes I can be quite impulsive. I'm trying to think a little bit more, you know, keep an eye on the ATR, think how the market's, you know, bouncing around. So being a little bit careful, because I have a tendency to jump in sometimes. So I'm just trying to be a little bit more aware that market is moving quite fast at the moment, and it can chop you up pretty easy. And when it is moving quick and it is bouncing around a bit, it's easy to misread it and get yourself in trouble. So I think sometimes you're better off if it's moving around too fast, just sitting back and just giving it a little bit more time, because although we're definitely coming down, it is bouncing around in all kind of directions, isn't it? No, it's not. No. I still, now, when on my account, so, my accounts range from $3,000 down to about $74, but the majority of my accounts, over half my accounts are around about the 2,000 to 3,000, so they're in a nice place at the moment. Friday hurt me. I felt it over the weekend on Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, it was. I had that $500 loss per account. Well, it was between $520 and about $550. ATR was around about 4.5. So the two losses, even though they were on one contracts, they were still quite painful. I've more or less had, I don't think I've had a red day for a month. And the trouble is, the longer you go without a red day, sometimes the more painful it can be. Now, I'm usually okay, but it hurt me, that did. I was quite uncomfortable with it because my wife said, "You're a bit miserable this weekend." And I went, yeah, it doesn't usually affect me, but that did. I think because I've, had some good success and, I've had some payments now and they're starting to get more regular, but I kind of just had to process. It's not a huge amount. I had to process it. I did take some trades, so I got about a few $100s back yesterday. And it did happen, but I did feel it. And that's the first time I felt it for quite a while. But it kind of is the way it is, isn't it? So what I should have been a little bit more aware of what I found, when I've come down from two contracts to one contract, I'm finding, maybe my discipline or patience, I tend to jump into trade a little bit more. So I did consider going back up to two contracts. But I'm going to sit with this one contract for maybe another more week or two and see what happens. But when I look back on that first trade, I remember saying it's about 20 ticks this. Now, ordinarily, unless it was an absolute beautiful trade, I wouldn't have taken a risk for 20 ticks trading two contracts. It's like $500 in one hit. But I jumped into it. And although I don't think the trade was terrible, the more I looked at the trade, we had a channel up. It was a second entry. It was two legs back, but the two legs were very close together. And I prefer them, they were kind of like that. I prefer them a little bit further apart, a little bit down like that. So it was more sideways, I think. But I think if I was trading two contracts, I don't think I'd have taken either of those trades. So when you do make these changes, it's a little bit of trial and error and see how you trade with them. But obviously, the more you're risking, generally, the more careful you'll be. So I don't know, because I've reduced that risk a little bit. So I wasn't paying too much attention to the ATR, and I got stung for it. So, one thing I've noticed with trading is you constantly need to be on your game. If you're working as a carpenter and you have an off day, you make a few rough cuts here or a little bit of this. No, it's no issues. There's no problem. You just recut it, or you're laying bricks and you've misjudged something. You just knock a bit down and rebuild. It's not the end of the world. But with trading, if you're not on your game, it can sting. So I do find that sometimes that I get that little bit of lapse, maybe in judgment. Need to be careful what you say, and someone might get the wrong idea. I missed it. But yeah, I mean, you need to be on your game. It's easy to mess up. What have I missed there, Tony? Someone might get the wrong idea. What have I missed? It's all right. I'm thinking here, so my head's not clear. But yeah, you really need to be on your game all the time. And if you have a lapse in judgment, it can be costly. So I just need to implement a little bit more discipline to the trades I take as well, based on the size of the risk as well. The thing about trading Pats is our stop goes behind that signal bar. Now, a lot of other strategies, it's easy to manage your risk. You might say, okay, I'm going to risk 2 points on this and go for 2 points or go for 4 points. Ben, how you doing, buddy? I'm well, mate. Hope you are. So, yeah, a lot of strategies may call for a 2 point risk and a 4 point profit, whatever. So you kind of know, but as a Pats trader, our stop goes behind the signal bar, and that signal bar, as we know, can vary from 1.5, 6 ticks, to 4, 5 points in some cases. So it's very hard to manage your risk. So this thing is just tanking, isn't it? Where's it going to end? We've got to be down the best part of 150 points, haven't we? I don't think we're far away. There's 150. The trouble is, when you have a channel like that, the tendency is to wait till it gets back to the top of the channel to take a trade. When really we've got to be taking the trades based on the short-term stuff. So we got a channel there with a small break, 2 pushes down to a new low. Yeah, lots of little bars. Well, they look little. They're not actually that little. Excuse me a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be a minute. Okay, channel down, break, small low. Two little legs back. Wow. I wouldn't take a trade there at the moment because we've had a break and a new low, 2 pushes to a new low. The trouble is, with such a big, wide area that this is moving, it's very easy to decide to go a little bit higher, in which case it traps a bear bar down and turns and pushes up. It is 2 legs back, but those bars are naff. Doesn't mean it won't drop down. You know, a lot of traders just trade pullbacks. They don't necessarily wait for a specific signal bar. They may just drop an order in here, put a stop here and put a profit down here. But this thing is just coming down and down. I'm trying to find something a little bit tighter, and I can't really. So I'm just going to have to trade the small term stuff. So what I don't get, look. 3 o'clock news. Did anybody know we had 3 o'clock news? Where's this just come from? Am I missing something here? Why has this just popped up? Unless something's just been added, some news has been added, surely not. I'm not sure what's going on here, but we seem to be getting news popping up from nowhere. Trump news today at 9 o'clock our time, isn't it? Yeah, it must be. I wonder what delights he's got for us this time. You know, I think what I'm going to start doing is, when I know he's talking, I'm going to sell me crypto, wait until he says what he's going to say, and then buy it back after. No, okay. So, channel break. New high. The trouble is, you never know how far this is going to go. So, channel break. New high. Just going to open up an order just in case, because this thing's
Order
moving that
submitted.
fast. So channel break, 2 attempts to push up. I mean, this is proper flicking around. We've just done nearly a 5-point bar there, just move. It is moving really quickly. It's so easy that you can get chopped up before you even get your stop put into place. I've done that before. I tend to have a 3-point stop and then I adjust it, but as soon as I've dropped it in, it's hit me stop or hit me point before I even had a chance to adjust it. So channel break, new high. 1 attempt to go lower, 2nd attempt to go lower. It's just sideways now. It could go up, could come down. We could have a leg up, sideways and a leg up. Could come up to the top here. 1, 2, 3, triple test. I just won't want to go long in this thing. It's that bearish.
Order cancelled.
Okay, so leg and a leg. I thought that could have just dropped then. Actually, I don't mind that. Leg and a leg. That's the trouble. See, it's easy to look for shorts here. You just never quite know how far this thing's going to go up before it starts on its way down again. That's if it does, of course. Nah, Dan's got that as well. That's good news. Okay, we're at the top of this channel. Let's see what it does. Well, there's certainly plenty of price action today. The thing hasn't stopped, does it? Okay, hold. Let's see what happens. That's interesting. Gonna say, I was just about to say, I don't think that's a terrible trade. I'd rather wait for the lower high though. It is a little bit of a sideways. It may fail and push up. I will say though, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars now that couldn't get above that. So if we can get a lower high, trouble is there is a bit of sideways here, so it could possibly push up higher. It's actually quite dangerous now. 29 tick bar there. Okay, let me just I'm surprised actually. I thought when that came down, this thing is going to come down now. Especially I had a bunch of bars there, but until we get that push through the EMA, the lower high, I don't assume anything nowadays. Trouble is, it's hard to get something that fits nice. We've got a touch, and a touch there, but we're above this now. That I liked. Touch. Fits nice at the bottom. So I'm guessing this thing is probably, after this, going to work its way down. Because we've had such a big move, though, it may take the scenic route. You set your clock to Eastern, dear. Yeah. I got this here so I can tell Eastern time here around London. I like to have a look at both. So, such a big move down. I'm not surprised we've had this. I'll be looking at something like that, I would be. And then... I can't believe we've only been going like an hour. Look how much price action we've had. Thing hasn't stopped, has it? Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot, isn't there? Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, sometimes I can't. I like to open them up so I can see the bars. Yeah, I mean, that could have been a full day's trading. Bearing in mind, what are we now? What we got about another, 5 hours, 6 hours of trading? 5 odd hours of trading. Yeah, it's way out, isn't it? I mean, that's a lot, isn't it? Obviously, the majority of it is negative, well, more or less, apart from this section, but I don't think this will... Whether this will hold or not, I don't know. I've put a line there at the 50% level, you know, but this thing's that bearish at the moment, unless anything. Obviously, you know, Trump tends to talk here or there, so you don't know what he's going to say. You don't know what's going to happen in Europe. You don't know what's going to happen with Russia. You know, ongoing news and, you know, can affect things, can't they? So 2 legs down. I can't bring myself to go long here, although a second entry short here wouldn't be a terrible looking setup, but the concept of me at the moment is so bearish, so I just don't want to get in at the moment. So leg and a leg. See, that is the type of setup I love if it's bullish. Really nice 2 clear legs down, but just the way things are looking at the moment. The bar was naff anyway, but I just can't bring myself... So 2 legs down, push above that EMA. I think it's probably lightly going to go up. Mind you, look at this. Yeah, see, when there's a lot of the time when you sit in front of these charts, it's slow and boring and it just does nothing. This market is really moving, but it's gone from one extreme to the other. It's moving, it's quick. That ATR's a hair under 4, so risk is bigger, and it's moving so quick. You can, you know, it can trigger you and stop you out so quick. In fact, what I might do is just take my stop loss up to 60, just to 4 points, I think. Mind you, if it's going to hit 3 points if I get in, no, let's just leave it. That actually makes no sense, does it? No, let's just keep things as they are. So 2 legs down. It's just hard to trade this stuff. We could just drop now. The trouble is, after such a big move, I'd expect, as I say, something like that. But this thing's that bearish. It just may not. I mean, look at this all of a sudden. It just looks like it's going to take out all this level, doesn't it? Yeah. So we got a break. Yeah. I mean, ordinarily after something like that, you'd have a break in a new extreme, but this thing's that bearish. It's struggling to get up. We've had a little bit out the top. That's if that is a channel. I don't think it looks bad. What I will say, though, is because we're coming away here, I did wonder whether there's something slightly different, maybe somewhere on the lines of that. But I'm just not sure. I can't. It's about as good as I've got at the moment, that is. So, having said that, channel with a break, we may get 2 legs back and it may push up, test this area again. So, while this is doing this, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm a bit dry. And I'm going to make a quick cup of tea, so I'm going to leave that with you for a minute. Let's put my 5-minute break on there. So I'll make a cup of tea, let this kind of figure out what it wants to do, and I'll be back in around about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Get that back. Okie dokie. Right. What is going on here? So there's our first leg. Are we getting a second attempt before we come down? Let's have a look. And this thing is really moving well, isn't it? There's no issues there. It's certainly not a boring day. Trouble is that ATR is getting larger and larger. It just makes that risk go up. Excuse me a sec. I just got a sandwich here. I'm not eating today. So what I'm thinking, leg, and then up for a second leg. I mean, it's that bearish. It just might not go far. I mean, you know, we've had a few attempts there. This thing just may come down. Now let's have that other push now. Okay, leg and a leg. Let's see if we get this next attempt. As I say, it's so bearish today, it may just, I don't know, but I'd like to see at least another attempt. Good boy. What about this here? Liquidity, yeah, definitely. Assuming that's what you mean. Got some of it. I would like to see another attempt up. Such a big move down. As we know, market likes to move in two. So channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, and then eventually down we go. But it is so bearish, it may just... it may not. What I will say is, looking at this, this is the daily. It cleared out anything there. If there'd have been stops there, you know, people swinging this thing longer, it's cleared out all of this. But how far is this thing going to go? We had a big drop there, didn't we? So you never know. See, Dan's got that. So it's a possibility, isn't it? I'm just going to... So first leg up. Let's see if we get that second. Come on, you're going to make me look bad otherwise. So it's kind of a triple test, that, but the trouble is the thing's that bearish at the moment, I just couldn't, and not only that, it's just choppy, so there's... See, if there is a larger channel there, it may not even get close to here. Well, the S&P hasn't moved like this for a long while, has it? Months, I think. I think we had some FOMC news sort of later at some point, and the thing just careered. Crossed my mind about a failed breakout, but the trouble is, it's quite choppy at the moment. So my concern was, I mean, Christ Almighty, my concern was it pushes up a second leg. I don't think we're going to get that. Showing loss of momentum. Definitely bearish here. No argument from me there. Sometimes I'd take that a failed breakout, but we pushed up, we had a higher low, and it continued to go up a little bit, so I thought maybe it is working up for this second leg. And then all of a sudden we get what's that, about 28 tick, 30 tick, something like that. 30 tick, I think, straight down.
Order submitted.
Breakout, pullback.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, these bars are getting big. So easy to get chopped up if you get it wrong. Channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt. I think there's a fair chance it's going to come down. Maybe something like that. Yeah, you got to be so careful today. lower high, I don't think it'd be a terrible idea. Lily had two pushes up and we're back down. The trouble is we broke above there before. I didn't think that would happen. You certainly do, mate, yeah. So easy to get chopped up when it's like this. I'm not in a rush to take a trade anyway. I'm quite happily ended on 0 if that's the case. 2 legs up and then down. So, never broke below there, as of yet. I'm finding it difficult to read. Yeah, it is. You're not wrong, mate. It's very choppy, isn't it? You got to be so careful if you get into a trade. For me, it's definitely working down with a little bit of side for good measure. Yeah, I know that was a terrible trade. Just worked so quick. You quite likely have missed that. Okay, so cleared all that lot out. So we're going to get up for that second leg. In fact, if that is a channel, we don't really need to, because it's probably not a break. Yeah, it's good exercise in patience today. What high swings do I have? Excuse me. Yeah, in fact, that it may come into play there. Well, actually, I don't think that looks that bad, actually, up to yesterday. It actually fits real nice. In fact, does it go higher? It's not far away, is it? Yeah, the trouble is sometimes if it's quite wide like this, it just makes it even harder to trade. So I've put that from there to there, which kind of fits okay. Let's just kill the colour because it's confusing me. I think this is likely going to come down, isn't it? I think it's probably got a lot to do with Trump withdrawing military assistance to Ukraine. That's the only thing I can think of, really. I don't know what else has gone on that I can fathom, to be honest with you. So I'm guessing it's probably a good chunk of it. I'm just glad crypto's holding at the moment. So channel break new high off the top here, but there's an overshoot there. So trade war. Yeah, that's probably got something to do with it as well. Tariffs come into place, don't they, in Canada and Mexico now. Canada are threatening to, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. What was your 440? Oh, that one. I did it on the, oh God, I think it was it on the NQ? No. I don't know, to be honest with you. It was early on. I think it was that one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was that one there. Second entry short. Let me have a look. Yeah, it was. What else was I going to say? Yeah, tariffs are in place. We've had a massive amount of... look at this. I mean, this is way more than a full day's worth of trading. This is Tariffs are in play, aren't they now, I think? I'm surprised Trump's going ahead with this because it's only going to affect the people. And Canada are doing the same, rightly so, but it's only going to affect the people. It's not necessarily going to do anyone any favours that I can see. I don't know. Yeah, so there's tariffs. There's a withdrawal of military assistance to Ukraine. There's probably a bunch of things. It's just not looking good. I'm surprised Trump's going ahead with this because all it is doing is just putting a massive amount of negative, sentiment out there. Everything's negative. The markets are dropping. Tax. This is exactly what it is. Tax on the people because of the. If they tax businesses, the businesses are just going to pass the cost on to you guys. That's not what you want. Okay, channel down here, small overshoot, break the other side. I think this is going to come down. Yeah, it's only going to affect the people. That's what I don't get. It's not a very popular move, is it? I understand if it was necessary, if it was going to help people, but it's not. It's going to do the complete opposite. I just don't get Trump, I got to say. I know, I've always been on the fence with Trump. He doesn't come over as very presidential, but people say it was good for the country and good for the economy. This time around, it doesn't seem that way. There's going to be a lot of money wiped off these. Well, that's if they don't recover. You know what the market's like. Sometimes they recover, but there's going to be, I don't know. And it's all come from Trump, really, whether it's the tariffs that come into play, whether it's the military aid withdrawn. This is that two legs I was looking at earlier. It just came down a little bit further, but leg and a leg. Big move down, a leg and a leg. More about his ego. Yeah, I think that's a lot to do with it. Trouble is, he's a businessman, and in all fairness, probably a dodgy businessman. So I don't know. Yeah, this is why I mentioned earlier, leg up and another leg up. How far it'll go. But I don't know. Are a lot of his supporters starting to, reconsider? Who knows? Counter against. Yeah, it's going to cause a rift, isn't it, between Canada and the US? I mean, you guys have been trading partners since day one. And all this is doing is just, it's just upsetting people. It's just costing people money. I mean, things are still, things haven't fully recovered from COVID. Prices are still high. So break out the bottom, break out the top. I think this will come down, but you never know, do you? It's not good at the moment, isn't it? It's. I don't know. At one point, do people start to turn on him? His own people start to turn on him? I don't know. Perhaps he's smarter than the rest of us, and he'll come out with something that none of us saw. Who knows? Force the Fed to cut interest rates. So that's what I mean. He must have a motive, mustn't he? Yesterday, DAX moved 600 points up. Today's high, 1,000 points down. Yeah. I know Trump was very pro crypto. Crypto is it's stable at the moment. It's not dropped anymore. Mind you, crypto can surprise you, can't it? 1 minute it can be struggling, dropping like crazy. Next minute, 18. I know H-bar was 18% up a couple of days ago. I was up really, really nice. Now it's down. I think it went up to about 29 cents. I think I bought it around about the 24-ish, something like that. I'm down maybe a little bit, but not much. But everything's down. Okay. Went short in the DAX, 200 points. There's a lot to be said with that, isn't there? No. Trouble is, you never quite know where it's going to go. But something told me that today was going to be relatively negative. So are we going to get another push up there? Toss the coin again. Small position of the Dow, 430 points. Crazy, isn't it? See, what I will say is whenever you're trading aggressively on evaluations, have you ever noticed it doesn't matter how bearish the price is or how bullish the price is, as soon as you start trading aggressively, you get chopped up. You wouldn't think you could go far wrong trading this, but it's surprising how you can. There's a method to all this madness, isn't there? Markets work a certain way, and guarantee, the second you decide to go in, all right, let's jump in here, say. The second you decide to jump in here and think market's coming down, let's put me stop up here and we'll get down here and make some money. Things starting to push down, isn't it? Bound to make us some money, isn't it? There you go. Second you get in, straight up, stopped you out. Look how bearish today is, look. So you can't just willy-nilly think this thing is coming down, let's jump in. Like I say, I dropped that in there straight away. You know what I mean? Market's got an uncanny way of just taking your money. You have to follow the rules, or at least some form of rules. Otherwise, you're going to get chopped to pieces. There's not such thing as luck in the markets. I mean, a little bit of luck may help you, but you can't treat price, can you, like gambling? And I did it for so long, just got frustrated and just gambled, just threw money at it. I'm not happy. I don't like the way I've been treated, so let's throw a bit more money at it. I have a relative level of sense, sort of being sensible now and making better decisions. But sometimes when I get these newer PA accounts and they're low or they've taken a slight drop into the red, I've got a tendency of taking riskier trades to try and give it a little boost. It's kind of the last nail in the coffin for me, which will turn me into a better trader. I keep telling myself I need to stop doing that, but I still keep coming and doing it. So what I've got a tendency of doing is changing the Guardian Angel rules I've got set for any accounts that seem low, usually those newer ones. Once I start getting 600,000-800,000 plus, I protect them. And I have a tendency of going in between 1 and 1:30 p.m. UK time and changing Guardian Angel settings. So tomorrow, when I can get access to the settings, I'm going to change it back so that the only time I can change settings, excuse me, is the weekends, which is it's no good to me anyway. So at least that way, I can stick at my rules 100%. So channel down, a couple of attempts to push up. This thing's flickering round. There is a second entry short on the other chart, which I don't think's terrible, but I'm not risking 24 points. Channel down. It is a second entry short. It's probably going to work, but I just don't like the way this is flickering around. So if I got in there, one tick below there, going for 12 ticks, I'd have to push through there. I mean, that's rejection, I think. But I just don't like the way this market's working. It's so easy to get it wrong. I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible thing getting on a limit order here, actually. In fact, that's what I'm going to do.
Order submitted.
It is a second entry short there. Two clear legs up, big bearish bar.
Order filled.
Okay. I got in a limit order a few ticks back, so did that work all right? 17 is still going,
Order
isn't it?
filled.
Yeah. Okay, one didn't shut down. It got me a little bit extra. Okay, I like that. It's clearly a second entry short. Big bearish bar. It was rather big. Let me just have a look at this. Everything's shut down. It's showing that there's orders there, but there's not, I assure you. Leg down, two attempts to push up, big bearish bar, and I got in on a limit order. I think that was okay, that. Where did I get in? Why isn't it showing me? Is it because of that? It's unusual. It won't show me where I got in. Anyway, I got in about here somewhere. Sometimes, mate. Yeah, it does. I mean, we know it's relatively bearish. Sometimes you just... Trouble is, you don't have a lot of time to think. We've got a channel down there, 2 clear pushes up, big bearish bar. I mean, that pushed up, cleared out anything here maybe, and then strong push down. You got a fair idea that's coming down for a second leg. Trouble is, I didn't want to get in it because of the size of it. I made that mistake the other day and ended up getting stung. So let's say there. I mean, look at that, 6.5 points that is. I think I probably shaved a few. I think I got in around about there. Somewhere about like it won't let me. Let me just see if I make the chart bigger, whether it will show me. Oh yeah, it shows me now. Yeah, I got a bit lower than I thought. So it's still a 6-point risk. It's a big risk, but to be honest with you, I like the trade, so I thought it was worth it. It's clearly a second entry short. Mac will mark that 100%. We got a leg with a break, 2 pushes to a new low, strong move down, 2 attempts push up. I think you got in at the bottom. Yeah, I got in. Let me show you again. There. So actually right on the nail. So let's say there, roughly. Yeah, felt a little bit lower. So yeah, 6.25, 6.25. But to be honest with you, when that came back, I thought actually this is a really solid trade, and we clearly had 2 legs down. Does anybody take that? I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if someone didn't. I don't know. Mind you, it is moving so quick, so maybe they didn't. Let me have a look. But I liked it. I thought it was nice. So, a lovely looking bar, finished on its low. Second entry short, 3 points. 3 points. Yeah, it didn't close one of mine down and gave me an extra $50. Let me just take a screenshot. I just want to put it on the what's it, see if anybody took it. Okay, shove that up out of the way. So that's the beauty about having more accounts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there's about 3,000, just under $3,000. So my bars are off. No, my bar's different. Anybody different to anybody else's? Second chart, that's why. Second chart. Someone said my bars are off. Yeah, it was on my other one. Just goes to show how different the bars can be. Look at that. I mean, that is that's completely different, isn't it? Mind you, does it really matter? Does it matter? I don't know. The nice thing with Pats is the take profit will be right within seconds. Yeah. You got So that lag's flickering around. I mean, it's clearly 2 legs back. And what I will say is, a lot of people trade based on pullbacks, don't they? And that was clearly a pullback. And it did cross over and come straight down. Now, this isn't a perfect lot. But you can clearly see there's 2 legs up and a big bearish bar, which did work. Obviously, my other chart, it was a really nice setup, which is why I decided to jump in at the end. But still a lot of people who trade 2 charts. I know Taylor still trades 2 charts. Excuse me, quite a few people. Quite a few people still do. I have to wait far longer. Yeah. I've considered, I'm just going to shut this down to get rid of that. I've considered doing a bit of swing trading. Now, I believe you can, as far as Max says, you can trade on any time frame. So, you could trade the 15-minute or hour, whatever you want to do, 5-minute, 15-minute, which kind of will slow this down a little bit, won't it? I got to say, sometimes it's... Now, I've read. Now, when I started trading a little over 4 years ago, as most of you know, I traded currency for 6 months, and then I moved on to trading what I trade now, basically. Now, I know I've read quite a few times people will say when you're a new trader, don't scalp, and I absolutely get why. To be able to scalp successfully, you need to be a relatively good chart reader, and you need to have a bit of nerve because it's so quick. And I've got into trades in the past. Hope, fingers crossed, touch wood, not so much now, but where I've got in and I've got chopped up in a second, and your emotions get the better of you, and you think, "Damn, I've been trapped to the short side." Market goes up, you decide then to go long. It triggers you, comes down, stops you out. Can't tell you how many times that happened to me. So I absolutely get the sentiment of not scalping, because it's so fast. You don't have a lot of time to think, and it's very easy to get carved up before you even realise what's going on. So I think there's a lot to be said for swing trading. I mean, I take on average 3 trades a week, 4, maybe 4 or 5. Now I'm only trading a contract, but when I was trading 2 contracts, 3 a week, I think I probably averaged. And I had a good win rate. But you don't have a lot of time to think. You've got to make very fast decisions. And, when you don't have a lot of time to think, you have to rely on that experience to sort of jump in and make you kind of do it. It's like everything. Whenever you're learning to drive, if you've been driving years, you jump in a car, you can just... Everything takes care of itself. You'd have to think about it there. But when you first learn to drive, you're thinking about, you're putting it in gear, the clutch is in. You've got to think about what you're doing. And I suppose that's kind of the same for trading. You have to think more. Whereas reading price action, it takes a long time to figure out what's going on and to kind of get in quicker when you need to. And it is prone to making mistakes, lots of them. CEO and head trader SMB recommends scalping for beginners to build experience in the market. Oh, well, maybe that's the case. You'll hear a varied. What I will say is, if I watch other traders, now I occasionally watch Tanya trades. I watch her sometimes, or I have done in the past, and I see her getting into trades because she trades ICT. Now, sometimes I'll see her getting into trades and I'll think there's no way I take that trade being a price action trader. And sure enough, it'll stop her out. So I don't know whether it's me because I believe what I'm doing, or price action really does help you, dissect these markets and figure out what's going on. We know price action is kind of the rawest form. We're stripping away all all I use is the 21-day EMA. Apart from that, nothing really. It's just a case of lines on a chart, but it's reading the price. And what I will say is, if you gave me a chart at the end of the day, no, tell a lie. If she showed me setups at the end of the day, did they win or did they lose? I believe I can get it right 9 times out of 10. Now, I've got time to think about that then. I can weigh up the odds and think, yeah, it clearly worked. And price action, if you're good at it, is so accurate. But I don't know whether a lot of traders aren't aware of it or whether everyone's aware of it. Because you spend most of your life stuck in a room by yourself, you kind of, it's kind of like why I like sort of chatting with you guys, because it's nice to know how you trade and what you see. And, I think it helps you, gives you that kind of broader understanding of the markets. I think the more you learn about these markets from other traders, from whatever, generally the better you get at it. So you've had a push up there, 2 attempts to push lower. Second entry short there, which may fail. There's a failure there. We prefer to skip a lot of the stuff like penguin setups. Only moves on most days, small profits. Yeah, I actually like Penguin. I think he's a really solid trader. But even he started changing. A lot of times he'd wait for a couple of legs up and wait for it to push to that, push to the EMA. A lot of times he puts a short there after 2 pushes and puts his stop further up. So even he's kind of changed things, around a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be a sec. Right, let's have a little zoom out here. Higher time frame and aim for larger targets such as measured moves. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for measured moves. Measured moves, they blow me away, really, how accurate they can be. And even if they're accurate 80% of the times, or even 70% of the time, 60, 70% of the times, if you're risking like 1 to make 3 or 4, I mean, if you're right 50% of the time, you're going to make money. Yeah, I may start looking at maybe the 15-minute and just see if I can analyze it and see how accurate it can be. But I got to say, this type of trading is stressful. It can be stressful at times, especially when things aren't going right. And the only downside that I see, the only slight negative of this, like I got into a trade, the signal bar, i.e. your risk, tends to always be different. Trading this style, you can't kind of have a stagnant risk. You can't say I'm risking 2 points. It doesn't work this way. You have to kind of go with what that signal bar is telling you. Triple test there. If I wanted to go along, that's 22 ticks. Tick above, tick below, it's 24 ticks. it's an astronomical amount, and only going for 2 or 3 points, the numbers just don't really work. Leg up sideways, leg up, but the market generally is pretty bearish today. Well, it's very bearish today. So, you kind of got to be so careful. Trade a much higher time frame. I see the trades popping up on the 2000 tick much, and so much movement all over the place. Read that again. I'm watching the stream while watching and trading much higher time frame. I see trades popping up on the 2000 tick chart, and so much movement all over the place. And for us, it's just, yeah. I think really whether Mac decided for this time frame, because generally Mac trades for a point, doesn't he? Well, he does trade for a point. Now, if you can read these charts, getting a point out of them is nothing really, is it? Obviously, I go for a little bit more, so I need to rely. It's all right. I've just noticed. Where did I take that trade? Was it there? I can't think now. Yeah, I've just noticed. So I lost my chain of thought there. I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, if you see the good trades and the good setups, they always do. Hold on a minute. What's gone? Why have these changed over here? This was the chart I had down there. This was the other. What is going on here? This was my main chart. Why have they swapped around? That is so strange. I'm going to say I just looked at that and I thought that's the trade I took, wasn't it? I swapped my charts around. Let me just have a look. No, that's strange. Why is that? That's where I took that setup, wasn't it? Second entry short, leg down, second entry short, even a lower high there. These charts have swapped around for some reason. Have I swapped them around? Can't have done. Mostly ATR. To set stop, say 1.5, depending on your risk. Yeah, it's not straightforward, is it? There's a lot of kind of, we've all heard Max say 1,000 times. It takes years to master this type of thing, and then the more you do it, you realise how right he was. Why do you have two 2000 tick charts? I'll tell you. So this is an idea I got from a few other traders who trade it. And what they do, if I go into this data series here, this little, it's like a set of knuckles, a fist with a square around it, and I have break at end of day selected, on my other chart, I get rid of break at end of day. And what you'll find is it changes the bars ever so slightly. So if you get a good setup, so if we look at my other chart, which was strange, we had a channel down, clearly 2 legs up, a pullback, and then it carried down. But it wasn't a very good setup there. Although we pushed up and we came straight back down, it wasn't a very good setup there. But the context was okay. Here, better, same context, leg down, 2 legs up, but a slight variation in the bar. And I like the fact there we had a bullish bar there, leg break, new extreme. There'd have been buyers there which got triggered. It came back a bit and pushed up again, so there'd have been more buyers there. We pushed up and came straight down. So that was a good setup. Same context, 2 legs back followed by another leg down. But because of that break at end of day deselected, it just makes those bars a few ticks out. I think they change by about 500 ticks, and it just gives you that extra crack of the whip. I need your advice on Replicanto. When should I use 3 funded accounts. Shall I buy or wait? See, my opinion, my honest opinion as okay, let's start again. My honest opinion, I would only ever say have 1 PA account at a time until you can start to make some money. And then when you can start to make a bit of money, because if you don't do it that way, you'll end up wasting loads of money. So I would only ever have 1 evaluation and 1 PA. And when you can start to grow it and maybe take a withdrawal or 2, then start to grow. That's the proper way to do it. I did the complete opposite because I thought I knew best. I thought the more the better. The more money I throw at it, the better I'll become. The more money that I'll make. And it did the absolute opposite. So for a newer trader now, is I would only ever have 1 evaluation and then 1 PA account. Just stick at that. You don't need to have multiple ones until you start to make money, because what you'll lose many times before you start to make money. So it doesn't make sense to lose 5 PA accounts at the same time or 5 evaluations. You might as well just lose 1 and save yourself a ton of money. So that's my advice to you, my friend. If you can make a bit of money, then increase it to 2 or 3 and then grow them a bit. If you notice on half of my accounts, you're welcome, mate. You notice half my accounts, I've got over 2,000 in. So I can relax a little bit that they're building, but I wouldn't like to have all 0 because, you know, if things go wrong, yeah, so I think it's a good idea just to get some, and then when you can make a bit more, add a little bit more. But I wouldn't start adding until you're making a bit of money, excuse me, and you can afford to buy more. So, you know, you make $2,000, put $300 in and get 1 or 2 more and just build up like that. I think it's a much more sensible way. But I knew it all. I thought I knew all the answers. I thought I was better than everybody else, so I threw money at it, and all it does is makes your learning way more miserable. And you just chuck away a ton of money. Now, I was lucky because the affiliates have more or less paid for me to learn. Now, not everyone, you know, is fortunate like that, and I am fortunate. But if it was my own money and I wasn't, you know, getting something on affiliates, it would have crippled me financially. You know, I know a lot of other YouTubers and that ram the codes down your throats. It's the wrong way to do it. It's the wrong way to do it, encouraging people to get more and more, because all they just do is get into bad habits. You get greedy. It's very easy to get that sense that you're gambling. And to an extent, we all kind of go through that phase where we're taking stupid risk, and it more or less is gambling. So, you know, any new trader now is keep it tight on them purse strings, because you can get through money like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, it's not the way to do it, mate, because all it does is chops you up, and you don't want to be miserable. It makes your time in the markets and your learning miserable. And I went through a phase where it changed my mood. I was miserable all the time, and it's you know, I know a couple of people have said to me, well, why don't you teach your daughter when she's, and I'm kind of, because of my experience, I'm thinking I don't want my daughter anywhere near trading, because I don't want her to go through what how I felt. So there's a triple test there. I think that's probably going to come down from that area there, but the trouble is, it's just tick above, tick below, you're risking 30 points. Not a chance. Absolutely. The trouble is, the cheaper they are, the less careful you are. Now, you know, most of you know we've had phases. We don't get them as much. We've had phases where they're like 90% off, $16. As soon as the market goes against you, what do? You move your stop because you think it's only $16. And you focus that much on just trying to get to the PA. But if you're trying to get lucky to get to the PA, all that's going to happen is you're going to pay $125 for the PA, and you're eventually going to blow that, and you're going to throw more money. So there's a sensible way of doing this, a right way and a wrong way. I did it the wrong way. So do the opposite what I did, and you'll have a much better experience. But I would say I was a little bit on the fence about how long you should spend on a sim before you move over. I used to say 12 months. I'd say probably 6 months now, and then get one evaluation, because it's good to get into that habit of having what it feels like to have a little bit of risk. Because if you're trading solely on a sim, you tend to take stupid trades, I think. You don't wait and make kind of good decisions. Tony, how you doing, buddy? On the subject of gambling, what's your explanation why trading is not gambling? Well, there's a lot of conversation about that. I would say trading exactly is gambling. I don't think there's any other way of saying that it isn't gambling. The difference is well, let's talk about the similarities. You're betting on something that you can lose. You're not guaranteed the outcome, exactly the same as you will be doing if you're on a football. You're betting on a football match. You get that same little rush or buzz when you win, and you get that same little frustration and sinking feeling when you lose. The difference is with trading, you can develop an edge. So up until recently, I had an 89% win rate, and then I had 2 losses the other day, and that knocked it down. But you can clearly have an edge with trading, and that's the difference. But, excuse me a sec. But the practice of it, betting on something which you can't guarantee the outcome, where you could lose money, is exactly the same as trading. And you can get that. We all know why people get addicted to trading, because of that buzz and that rush you get. Even though over half of it is filled with horrible feelings. So it's very easy. I mean, if you search, why am I gambling instead of trading, you'll find a whole host of... Okay, there's those 2 legs up I was looking at earlier. Leg down there, leg up, leg up. I had a little red thing here, but that's what I was looking for. But yeah, it's gambling is exactly what it is. It's like taking strong drugs and trying to manage it. You know what I mean? I mean, if you were taking heroin, how many people take heroin and go, yeah, I'm under control? Something I've never tried in my life. I've tried 1 or 2 other bits like most people do, but, it's like a heroin addict that says, yeah, I can manage me addiction. I've got no issues with it. I just have it once a month. Kind of doesn't really happen, does it? Thundercrack growing. It's much better to get into good habits. And the problem is when you start trading and you start learning about prop firms, and you sign up to a prop firm, and then you start to read all the stories about, he withdrew $40,000, and you watch some YouTubers and they've had $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. It's very easy to you start dreaming, and you start trying to push things, and you start trying to take bigger risks because you want to get there. We've all read 1,000 times it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it absolutely isn't. But it's very easy to get that mentality that the more risk I take, the quicker I'll get there, and it works actually the opposite way. You fall on really bad habits. It feels that I am taking forever to become... I think the sad truth about it is it takes longer than people think. Now, I've been trading a little bit over 4 years now, and I'm now just starting to make some money. It is disappointing. It does seem to take forever. But let's think about it like this way. Think about it like this. So there's two things that come to mind when you learn to trade. 1, how much does it cost? And 2, how long does it take? So, if I wanted to be a doctor in the UK, or some sort of a professional career like that, let's say doctor, let's say accountant, let's say a lawyer or solicitor, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to have to go to university. So I'll likely go to college and do A-levels. And then I'll go to university and maybe do 5 years at university. So if you count your A-levels and you count your university, it's taken you 7 years to maybe earn 60, 80, 100, 150,000 a year. Trading, you'll earn more money, obviously, assuming you're successful. You'll earn more money than doctors, you'll earn more money than lawyers, you'll earn more money than accountants, you'll earn more money than teachers and most other professional careers. I mean, crikey, the Prime Minister's only on about 220,000 a year, 260,000, something like that. And jobs like that, to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be, an accountant, takes 5 to 7 years, 5 to 8 years. And not only that, is if you do a university degree in the UK, it's about £10,000 per year at least. So if you're doing that for 5 years, you've bought an education for 5 years that's cost you 50,000. That doesn't include accommodation, doesn't include materials and books and all this sort of thing. So really, learning to trade, you're buying yourself an education. Unfortunately, that education, they did a poll on the Max Facebook group a couple of months ago. How long did it take you to become consistent? And the biggest area was 4 to 6 years, which I think is about right. But trading looks a lot easier than it is, and anyone can come along and click a buy button here and make money, but you won't do it consistently and you'll get chopped up. So it's just, the sad fact is, it seems to take 4 to 6 years for most people. Now, there's obviously exceptions to the rules. Some people are naturally very self-motivated and controlled. I appreciate that, mate. You're on your 4th year as well. Yeah, 4 years or more or less consistent. Losing a bit of things start turning around. Yeah, and I think what people do, and I certainly concentrated on, is all the negativeness I felt. That's all I thought about. Why do I feel so shit? I hate how I feel. I'm miserable. I'm down. But what you're forgetting is you've got your skill level here and you've got your emotional level here. Can you see that? Or other way around on there? Your skill level is down here and your emotional level is up here. And it's the worst combination of being. But the only way that I would have come across to be able to learn to deal with emotions is exposure to it day after day, till it starts to become just like a normal job. If you do something every single day, sooner or later, you won't have the same emotional reaction to it. It's impossible. So as those emotions are slowly starting to ease and your skill level slowly starting to climb, you'll reach that tipping point where you'll start to become consistent. But it's not quick. Christ, I did it for a month and gave my job up. I thought it was a doddle. How wrong was I? But any job where you can earn significant amount of money is never going to be easy. Otherwise, every man and his dog will be doing it. So I think you just have to accept the fact that it's probably going to take you the best part of 4 years to start to really get to grips with it. Now, as I say, there's exceptions to the rule. There's probably people out there that have done it in a year or two, and there's probably people may have taken a bit longer, but your emotions are getting involved, then you need to explore why too much risk. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest one. Now, if you had a PA account and you traded 2 or 3 contracts, let's say if you had 20 PA accounts where you've got significant risk and significant loss, and you traded 2 contracts, 2 mini contracts, and it stressed you out and you panicked and make stupid decisions, if the following day you come down to 2 micros, it's impossible to have that same level of stress. So exactly what Tony says, reduce your risk until that stress starts to disappear. Now, I would say the majority of people taking evaluations in PA accounts are probably trading 1 to 2 contracts. Now, in real life terms, that is massive. If you have a $2,500 drawdown and you're risking 2 contracts, your average loss is going to be 3 points. So you're losing over 10% in a trade. Now, any trader will tell you that you're mad. Now, I'd say typically they talk about 1 to 3%, depending on how you trade. 2% seems to be the average. So if you all of a sudden work out what 2% of $2,500, it's about $50. But the trouble is, you're making $50 on a trade and you're taking a few lose or two. It seems to take forever to get there, and that's where patience gets the better of you and you end up upping your risk. And I think that's a lot to do with no emotions. Absolutely, yeah. But, you know, it's difficult really because, you know, with prop firms, although I have a $2,500 drawdown and I'm technically risking, I'm probably risking about 6%. Now, if that $2,500 drawdown was my own money, you wouldn't risk that. But to get that money has only really cost me $125. So my risk isn't $2,500 if it was my own money. It's only really $125. So that's why I don't have an issue with risking a little bit more. Not only that, with trading this style, we go for high probability trades. And it's not unusual to have 80, 85, 90% win rate. Now, if you were risking 1 to make 5, you might have a 50% win rate or less. So you're going to lose a lot more trades. So losing 5 trades in a row at 10% is going to be a lot more catastrophic to your account than losing 1 or 2 trades in every 10. You're not going to do that much damage. So it does depend on, you know, how you trade. But, you know, people will tell you till they're blue in the face, do this, do that. But do you listen? I certainly didn't. But, you know, you kind of almost go back to being a juvenile, don't you? You know, when you're younger and you're living at home with your parents and your brothers and sisters, you never listen to your parents. And then when you get a bit older, you realise that they were right. And then when you do learn something new, you start a new job. People say, do it this way, you do it, it works, you listen. But with trading, all that kind of goes out the window. And we just don't listen. We kind of have to learn the hard way. And I think a lot of it's down, 2 legs up. A lot of it's down just to the emotions, I think, and that desire to make the same amount of money that Joe Bloggs made that was on Apex the other day. He's making $20,000 a month. I mean, $40,000 a month for most people that's a dream-like amount of money. But, you know, you can earn that sort of money, but it's not going to come overnight. It's going to take, you know, a fair few years to do it. But, you know, if you're the type of person that would do 7 years at medical school to be a doctor, then all of a sudden it's taking 4 or 5 years as a trader and earning more money is certainly feasible. But you do have to have a bit of a thick skin. Certainly if you're going to treat the markets like I did and think throwing money at it is going to get you there quicker. I trade out every day. Sometimes I have a good feel about it. Sometimes I have a doubt. But I do it always, yeah. Yeah. The trouble is with trading, there's no right or wrong way of doing it, really. You know, I used to sometimes when I see a trade that comes out quick and I haven't got time to right-click, click sell, and then bring it into place, I hit the buy or the sell button. I did it on that trade. Now, I used to feel a bit of a fake doing that I was rushing into it. But what I found is when I looked at it, about 90% of the trades I took like that went on and won. So in other words, the trade looked that nice, I wanted in on it. So I'm okay with doing that now, but I used to feel like a bit of a fraud and I wasn't trading the right way. And I shouldn't do that. But then when I looked into it, I looked back on the trades that I'd taken and realised that about 90% of those were the ones that worked. In other words, they were that good, I thought, I'm getting in here. And obviously the downside to doing that is you have less control where you get in. But it's worked for me. So, you know, I keep them there. But there was a point where I was going to think about getting rid of them altogether. Just hiding it away, and the only way I could trade would be to right click. But you know, with this fast moving stuff, to right click, scroll up to here, click it, drag it into place is a little bit long winded, and sometimes, you know, you don't have, especially trading these faster markets, you don't have time to do it. Do better on micros, good for them. I'll keep things more calm. Yeah, there's so many different ways of trading. You know, I wouldn't say someone, if you were trading 500 risk per trade, 500 bank. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like the one contract, I think. Normally, my average risk would be 150 maximum. And in a lot of cases, would be 125, which would be about 5%, which I don't think's that bad. Risking 5%, especially if a prop firm's money when it's only really cost me $125. The downside is with Pats, we use a signal bar for our entry and our stop, and you can't manage how big the bars are. They can fluctuate. I've seen this down to 1.4, less than half of that, and I've seen it up to 6. So if you take a trade, you kind of have to get in the same place every time, and then the stop has to go at the same place. And unfortunately, because of the varied size of the bars, that risk can fluctuate, and it is hard to manage it sometimes. I think if you trade 2 contracts, the simple thing is maybe when it gets to 4, you come down to 1, or maybe when it gets to 4, you come down to 5 micros or something like that. But, you know, I'm just trying to... Every time something goes wrong, you do learn something. So I learned the other day that when I was talking about that first trade I got into, I went, this is a 20-point risk here. 20-tick risk. Normally I wouldn't entertain a 20-tick risk, but because I was risking 1 contract instead of 2, I jumped in, and when it went against me, it stung me a little bit more than normal. Marriott Black, prop firm, only enters on market orders. Trouble is, when you say market orders, you mean aggressively buy or sell. The trouble is, if I sort of, let's say I click
Order
a market
submitted.
order there, I used to trade that way, but sometimes when you drag it and drop it and you there, sometimes it'll hit it and kick it off. And when you're trading multiple accounts, a lot of times it won't trigger them all, whereas if
Order
I use
cancelled.
a limit order and drop a limit order in, that limit order will stay there until they take, it won't kick it out. So are you on about market as in that order? Or are you on about just buying and sell it at current market price? There's so many ways to trade, isn't there? So we've had the leg and the leg. Fat, I'll probably take that down to there. 2000 tick chart combined with 12-day range chart to reduce the risk. Yeah. I've never used those range charts. I've looked at them. Bars are always 12 ticks. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Do you know, I even considered looking at... yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. It's a lot easier way of managing it, isn't it? I even looked at... is it Renko charts? There's a couple of different types, isn't there? I've got some on it here somewhere, which I don't use. That's not what I wanted. It's just 2 legs down. Leg and leg within the push-up. There's a couple of different types of them, isn't there? No. But Renko to divulge a lot of this. Renko charts averages them out. Sorry. What's the other one? Renko, and there's another one that's similar. Sure, I've got Renko on here somewhere. There's 2. There was Renko and another one. Oh, Heikinashi. I think they tend to average them out a bit, don't they? So 2 legs down. My issues with tick charts is that the close the bar has nothing to do with the price action or order flow. What I will say is if you go over to something like, what I like about these is the bars, the size of them are pretty similar to the next one. Whereas if you go over to say a 2 minute, they fluctuate so much, and it's even harder, I find. It's even harder, you know, we got big bars here, we got tiny bars here. They fluctuate a bit too much. But I think they more or less tell you the same sort of thing. But, you know, they go from being tiny to being bigger to being massive. So what I like about the I think why Mac decided on the 2000 tick chart is because of it gives you a certain amount of information. I can't even look at time, although I use a 60-minute for levels, yeah. Yeah, it's useful to have them, isn't it? I think really with levels, going for such small movements, you know, like 1 to 3 points, majority of the time, you know, levels, there's nothing I can't see that in the middle of there that I'm necessarily hitting a level that is going to affect me that much. So I think that's why Mac concluded, you know, he doesn't kind of need anything else, any type of other types of indicators or certain levels. I mean, I usually have, I've got the lows of the day, highs of the day. You know, I can look back at yesterday's lows. And in most cases, I'll have a look back at the daily, or I'll scroll back and see if there's any types of areas that, you know, that if we do get down here, we may get a reaction to. I did put on my other chart, I did put the, I'm assuming that's the VWAP, just in case. I mean, if I'm going along here and we're coming towards VWAP, is that a good idea type? So I thought I'd have it on another chart just to see if any of my trades or losses, you know, have seemed to be affected by it at all. Excuse me. But I think as you sort of develop as a trader, you learn new tricks, don't you? And that's why I think it's good to chat with other traders, because you do tend to learn more when you do it with other people, because you pick up what they do, they pick up what you do. So hopefully it makes you both more rounded traders. So I'm going to put that like that. I like that. Actually, we've got a couple of touches there. Touch. 2 legs back. Higher low. I just didn't like that wick. And the bar was big. And when I have taken a trade for the day, chances of me taking another one are a bit slimmer. How long have I been going for? 244. Bars, second derivative of price and volume, and therefore lagging. Yeah. So let's have a look at this. If I move something here, I think I have, haven't I? So we've had 2 legs. This is kind of what I was looking at when I put those red lines on there. So I still think after this leg, the bigger these channels are down, what I find is the more it takes the scenic route. Obviously, tiny channel, break new low. Medium channel, break new low. Massive channel, couple of breaks, or break, 2 pushes up, and then a new low. So I still think this is likely to test these lows. So channel, break, 2 legs back, push up, new high. And obviously, there's no guarantees we could end up being up here by the end of the day. Institutions go for price levels. Yeah, I think it's certainly good to be aware of it. I do have the 10,000 tick chart on it, which is kind of something a little bit bigger. I know that I've got many days. Where have I? Yeah. And I do flick to the daily, just to give me a broad look. Yeah. So you've got levels down here, haven't you, and stuff like that, and then maybe here. But we have cleaned a lot of this out now, so if there was stops there, entries or whatever, we broke below there. If it breaks, maybe 58,205. I've got this little line over here, this line up here, which is 50% this move back, just to see if we get anywhere near it. So at least I'm up for the day anyway. About $3,000, I think, all in all. Just a fraction under $40, $35 under $3,000. So, I mean, if you can do that 3 times a week, you can make all the money you want, can't you, really? $58.05. Yeah. So I think I'm going to knock it on the head there. I'm nicely up for the day. That's where I kind of like to stay. How long have I been going for? 2 hours and 50 minutes. I tend to do 3 to 3.5 hours. But I'm up nicely. So it's pancake day in the UK. I don't know if you US guys do that, yeah. So not only am I making pancakes tonight, I'm making multiple different types. My daughter wants American pancakes with bacon and maple syrup, and she wants normal French-style pancakes, crepes, with sugar and lemon juice. So I'm going to be lumbered doing that for about the next hour. But I'm going to wash it down with a single malt. So you too, DT. Yeah, so best of luck, folks. I mean, the market's certainly moving today. If you don't like a slow market, today's your day. You're welcome, mate. Where you from, Johnny, anyway? Where you from? What part are you from? You might have told me before, mate, but yeah, there is a few Brits around, isn't there? Tony's from the UK. Where you from? Oh, Cornwall. I used to live down there. Camborne. My stepfather was in the army and he did a stint down there in Camborne. Oh, right, okay, that's not far away, was it? Truro, yeah. It's a nice part of the world, that is. Cornwall. I haven't been down there for years. I think the closest I've got to is Dorset, I think. Went to Weymouth. I got a friend who's got a hotel down there. Small hotel on the front line there. But it's a nice part of the world, nice in Cornwall. Clotted cream and pasties. You can't beat them. So yeah, I was only there for about 2 years, but I was a youngster at the time. I was about 13, I think. We'd just come back from Cyprus, 2 years in Cyprus. But yeah, it's a nice part of the world. Yeah, great. It's nice to have some fellow. We tend to get surrounded by the Americans. There's hundreds of them. They're everywhere. I will, mate. Yeah, definitely. It would be nice to meet up with some traders at some times. Definitely. Yeah. Right, I'll leave you two, folks. Best of luck. I hope you get a setup. Failing that, have a great evening. And I'll leave you guys to it. So, great evening. Stay safe. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.